Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a viral story format that, honestly, just racks up millions of views all over the globe. But we're not just going to recount the events of this one specific viral sensation. Nope. We're actually going to dissect the underlying narrative formula that makes these types of stories so incredibly powerful. Sure, on the surface, it's a story about a dog, but deep down, it's this fascinating case study into human psychology and the kinds of narratives that truly resonate with us. Okay, let's dive into this. The absolute beating heart of our analysis today really boils down to one quote. Your status is defined by what you own, but your soul is defined by what you give. It's powerful, right? It perfectly establishes the exact dichotomy we're exploring today. Think about it. What happens when someone who has absolutely everything refuses to offer even a tiny shred of help, while a person who has literally nothing is willing to give their all? It creates this massive, profound friction, a fundamental clash between external wealth and internal character.
Part 1. The moral dichotomy formula.
So before we get into the actual events of the story, we really need to understand the structural mechanics at play here. Our brains are practically wired to click on these underdog stories because we just naturally respond to high emotion contrasts. We call this the moral dichotomy formula. As you can see right here on the screen, it's a narrative structure deliberately designed to explore themes of social status versus inner worth. In these frameworks, we almost always see a subject, usually an animal, who gets mistreated or just completely discarded by society, but who then turns right around and shows unconditional bravery. The formula works so well precisely because it contrasts a person who has all the resources in the world but actively refuses to help against a creature or a person who has nothing but gives everything. And this brilliantly illustrates the formula in action through some pretty stark contrasts. On one side, you might have a wealthy woman who thinks a stray dog is just a nuisance, right? She literally chases it away from her shiny luxury car. But then, on the flip side, later in the timeline, that exact same dirty dog is the only one who actually hears her cries when she's trapped in a terrifying building fire and ends up saving her life. These stories use these extreme, polarizing contrasts of class and kindness to just immediately hook us in.
Part 2. A Tale of Two Men.
To see this formula perfectly executed, I want you to picture an incredibly busy city street. People are just rushing past, totally lost in their own worlds, staring at their phones, hurrying off to meetings, and right there, smack in the middle of this chaotic, concrete jungle, is a tiny, abandoned golden retriever puppy crying out for help, totally ignored by the rushing crowds. Then a wealthy businessman walks by. He's got the finest clothes, the most expensive watch. But when he looks down, what does he see? Not a life, but a nuisance. What's wrong with this picture? He actually uses his expensive shoe to nudge this shivering little puppy out of the way just to protect his luxury suit from getting dirty. His wealth and his status completely blind him to basic mercy. But then, a street cleaner stops. He wraps that same puppy in his own worn-out jacket and actually shares his only piece of bread.
Part 3. Mercy on the Streets.
Let's really pause and think about this street cleaner for a second. This is a guy who cleans these very streets for a living. He has absolutely no money to spare, and yet, he doesn't hesitate for a single second. He scoops the dog up, sacrifices his own worn-out jacket for warmth, and gives up his meager lunch. So while this man severely lacked any kind of social status or financial wealth, he perfectly embodied the soul side of our moral dichotomy formula. He stepped up and acted as a hero right when the man with everything just walked away.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Over the next few years, that tiny, shivering puppy grows up into a magnificent, incredibly loyal golden retriever companion. But as these stories go, fate eventually steps in and forces these two sides of our dichotomy to violently collide.
Part 4. Disaster strikes the city.
Fast forward to one seemingly normal afternoon, and the calm of the city is just entirely shattered. A massive construction crane suddenly malfunctions. And get this, where does it happen? Right near a luxury high-rise. And not just any high-rise, but ironically, the exact building owned by the wealthy businessman who had heartlessly nudged that crying puppy away years ago.
The malfunction is absolutely catastrophic. A tremendously heavy beam crashes down and someone is pinned right underneath it. The surrounding crowd, they're completely frozen in absolute paralyzing fear. Nobody knows what to do, the dust is swirling everywhere, and the panic is just palpable.
Part 5. The Golden Rescue. As the crowd stands there frozen, a flash of gold suddenly darts into the chaotic scene. It's him, the dog who was once abandoned on these exact streets. Step 1. The golden retriever hears the urgent cries coming from beneath the rubble.
Step 2. Completely ignoring the immediate danger in the highly unstable environment, he rushes right in. Because you see, he doesn't see wealth, he doesn't see poverty, he has no idea who owns the building, he only senses a soul in need of mercy. And step 3, frantically, the dog acts as a guide, leading the emergency rescuers directly through the treacherous debris to the exact spot where the victim is trapped.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible climax it sets up. The rescuers follow the dog, they secure the area, and with just an immense amount of effort, they finally manage to lift that heavy, crushing beam. And the person they pull from the wreckage? Yeah, it's the wealthy businessman.
Talk about a massive full-circle moment. The wealthy man looks up. He's completely covered in dust. His precious luxury suit is utterly ruined. But more importantly, as he's pulled to safety, he finds himself staring directly into the eyes of the very dog he once pushed away with a shoe. The man who truly believed he was so far above this animal was ultimately saved by it. The dog held zero grudges. He simply offered mercy when it was needed the most.
Part 6. Status versus soul.
So, the crucial point is this. Ultimately, this story teaches us that status is completely temporary. Wealth, the luxury suits, the expensive watches, the high-rise buildings, literally all of it can vanish in an instant when a disaster strikes. But the soul, the kindness shown to a living creature, that stays forever. The poor street cleaner's soul was deeply enriched by his immediate act of mercy, while the rich man literally had to lose his pride, his suit, and almost his own life to finally be forced to see what truly matters in this world.
It all comes back to how we view the vulnerable. So I want to leave you with this final vital question. If you were walking down that rushing, busy street that day, would you have seen a dirty puppy to step over or a soul in need of saving? Take a moment to really reflect on your own moral compass. If this explainer moved you and made you think, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into incredible tales of moral courage and animal heroism. And hey, let us know where you stand. Comment the word mercy down below if you believe that every soul, whether human or animal, deserves a chance. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.